right. Welcome, fellow TFFL owners, to another TFFL webcast. It's Wednesday, November 18th. We were just talking. It's Thanksgiving next week, and we're really in the stretch run here in the TFFL, looking ahead to Week 11 action now. 3 weeks to go in our regular season. I'm Stick, managing editor of TFFL Media, leader of the suddenly mediocre 5-5 Aliens, joined as always by our commissioner, Chief, skipper of the Sponge Fishermen.
Hello, League.
Berto, our two-time defending champion, Jack's Giant Killers.
Hi, Stick.
I want to say you righted the ship in Week 10, but 51 points isn't really anything to write home about.
No, but that's with 3 from Dalton and a 0 and a from I thought I would get more Monday night, but it didn't happen. But thank God I didn't have to worry about that.
Yep. And Hank, czar and CEO of the K-Wheels and IT director of our webcast here.
Good evening, gentlemen. Happy to be here with you.
So Week 10, we had more down-to-the-wire action on Monday night. The Senators pulling out a victory, close game. More critical lineup moves affecting outcomes, and I know Chief will talk more about that. And we're all going to talk about more teams suddenly in the playoff picture. Pretty much 10 out of 12 teams in the league. Lot to talk about there. The TFFL it's fantastic these days, folks. This is the exciting time of the year. I mean, it always is, but
maybe not for Phil.
I was going to say for some of us maybe. Yeah, I disagree, but I'm enjoying watching the other 10 of you.
10 teams still in it. Phil's probably the most boring team because I can look at the AMPAC who are out of it, but got it 0-10. There's a lot of excitement there. Let's see if they
history in the making.
Yeah, perhaps. Yes. So the Mongols, I believe, without looking at the archives, I think were 1-11-1.
Yeah, I looked it up earlier. 1-11-1 in 2002 or 2007. One or the other. Let's see. 1-11-1 it was though.
All right. So certainly, I think that's within reach for the AMPAC.
It seems very odd. You narrowed it down to 2 years that are 5 years apart.
2002.
Okay, very well done.
All right, now Berto, put away the archives.
Yeah, the archives are away. I was studying before the question tonight because I haven't gotten many right lately. So.
Yeah, that's ridiculous that Berto's actually been studying the archives. I mean, Chief, I trust you're with me. We're going at this cold and from raw memory.
Mike Giovenko would never do that.
Yeah. I haven't gotten a question right in several weeks, so
I don't think I've ever gotten a question right.
Got to go gridless on this. All right. So as we talk about 10 teams in the playoff mix, most of the league, the vast majority of the league has playoff aspirations. Which TFFL franchise has the longest active streak of not making the playoffs? And I'll give you some extra credit here. You can name 2 teams. I'll give you a half a point if you name the team that has the second longest streak of not making the playoffs. Answer coming later in the show. Right down.
Hang on, Stick. You broke up a little bit. I need you to repeat that question. We're looking for the active longest losing or non-playoff streak.
Pretty much. Give me 2 teams, and you have a chance for 1.5 total points if you get both teams. All right.
Question.
Very relevant question. All right. So let's quickly again look back, wrap up Week 10 here with a couple of our regular segments. Chief, why don't you start us off with our best and worst lineup moves, and then we'll get the standings and a playoff picture from Hank.
Okay, great. We'll start off with the best moves of the week, and I really want to highlight one game in particular. And it was the aforementioned Senators Boba Fett's game that went down to really from what I understand, the closing moments of Monday Night Football. Usually I reserve this award for teams that win, but the Fats made 2 great decisions where they reversed their recent course and started Stafford over Winston, which netted them 7 points at quarterback. And they also, and I don't think very many people would have made this decision given who is starting for the Steelers but started Martellus Bryant over Devontae Adams and picked up 11 points on that switch. I guess kind of a ballsy move. I don't think I would have done that. However, because the centers also made good moves, by finally sitting down Amir Abdullah's 0 points. In fact, that's terrible. It's in poor taste. So close to Paris. I also sat down Shane Vereen 0 points. So I mean, D'Angelo Williams picked up 2, Gio Bernard 3, T.J. Yeldon 3. Those are pretty terrible scores. But in a 2-point game final? The difference between a 0 and a 2 and a 0 and a 3, that's your win. So good job for both of them, really, but especially for Kevin for getting every last point out of that running back core. And Stick, you knew this was coming. I knew it was coming. Anyone paying attention knew this was coming. And I won't go too far into this, but the fact is your highest scoring running back and highest scoring wide receiver were on your bench. That's a kind of a hopefully rare double whammy. Obviously, I'm not going to check archives or previous scores to see how often that happens. But
quarterback too, for that matter.
Correct too, but you certainly can't fault you for that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough and a game you really needed to have. To leave Floyd, he talked about possibly starting in last week's webcast.
Yep.
And I think we all understand that you didn't want to miss out on Sammy Watkins, 2 big games in a row, because then the abuse would be really bad this week if he pulled the 0 or he pulled a 18 from the bench. So yeah, you get the goat horns this week. I hope you can rebound, get the round robin, no co-West games to redeem yourself.
Yeah, I can't argue. I mean, yeah, Watkins, you hit the nail on the head. Floyd was playing the Seattle defense. I didn't want to have Palmer and Floyd perhaps get shut out. But if you really want to beat me over the head on this, yeah, not only was my highest scoring running back and receiver on the bench, my highest scoring quarterback in Roethlisberger. Again, you're not going to fault me much for that. And my highest scoring defense. I picked the Steelers defense to start over Buffalo.
That's right.
Just terrible calls all around, and it cost me. All right.
Better. Oh, what's kind of funny? Let me mention this real briefly. I don't know if you read the Fantasy Journalist report that I think comes out on Tuesday nights. Did you see who was the owner who did the best job this weekend? Was myself. Somehow I am getting credit for starting Eli Manning over Nick Foles and starting who was the other one? There was 2 LaShawn McCoy over Antonio Andrews, and getting kudos on that and getting a high owner marks for that weekend is kind of puzzling. I got to figure what their algorithm is where they would recommend sitting down Eli Manning to play Nick Foles at this point.
Chief, I love your responses to the auto.
I'm glad someone's reading them.
They're good. I'm reading them.
All right, Hank, give us just draw a big abstract paint. Got a playoff picture.
We're going to try this. All right. We're going to start with the North because at least there's 2 teams that are out of it, and sadly it is myself, and happily it is Ralph. I hope we're going to get to talk more about the historically bad Amsterdam Packers. We'll get onto that. The Fats and Aliens, 5-5, fighting for that division against the Lizards, who are 6-4. They got it. They're still the highest scoring team in the league. Killers, congratulations, have clinched the division because of Ralph and my ineptitude with 3 games to play. So that's the North. I think the Killers are in. The winner of that division with the Fats and Aliens round robin to come with the Lizards. Who knows? There might be some space for you. But this is the mess.
Yep.
So, Yeah, I mean the Senators got the lead, and they've got the division lead by 2 games, which is big. So we'll see we'll see if they can hold on to that. Devils are hot, 4 straight. And then you've got 4 teams at 5-5. And they all are going to play each other, and there's a lot of mess to go through. So I don't know how you want to sort it out. Everybody's got a chance.
So real quick, 2 weeks ago, I asked us all to name a sneaky good team that might come on strong down the stretch. If memory serves, and it doesn't always, the Fats, Devils, Hams, and Sponge were the 4 teams we named. Their combined record since then is 6-2, and I think one of those losses was a head-to-head game. So those teams are indeed surging. Other teams are falling back to the pack. The big topic, the big news in the TFFL is this 5-5 blob. In some senses, the 5-5 dilemma. We'll talk more about some of the dilemma angles here. But at the moment, we have 4 neat division winners. One team ahead in each division. Probably not safe to assume they're all going to end up winning the division, but for now, let's set them aside. We can set aside the 0-10 AMPAC and unfortunately the 3-7 K-Wheels. And that leaves 6 teams tied at 5-5, 3 games to go. 2 of them, presumably, are going to make the playoffs. One of them is going to be as bad as the number 3 overall pick. Luke.
Oh, man. Dude.
I am your father.
Yeah, I know. Well,
It can't go to bed.
yeah, I know. All right, I'll be right back. I'm enjoying this discussion though, and yeah, it's a mess. There's so much mush in the middle. So continue.
All right. So while Hank's walking away, I'll just say I've got a variety of questions and comments I'll throw out here. You don't all need to respond to every one. I might even cut you off in the name of brevity to move on, because again, this is the news. This is what we should be talking about. Let's start with maybe the dilemma aspect to this, the implications for the TFFL trade market. If you're a 5-5 team, is there a dilemma here? Should everybody be going all in for the playoffs, or might some people be thinking, maybe I should be trading away players? I'm not going to make the playoffs. I don't want to go giving up draft picks only to miss the playoffs. Is there really a dilemma, or do we have 10 buyers out there? And if we do have 10 buyers, is there enough things for sale?
I think we're hitting the driest in-season trade market ever. It's the Sahara out there, and I don't see it changing. I think if you're 5-5, you have to go for it. If you have something that maybe we'll see a trade that's beneficial to 2 5-5 teams. I don't know exactly what that will be, so maybe we'll see a non-draft pick type of trade if somebody needs we'll trade a number 3 running back for a number 2 receiver or something like that, or maybe if somebody needs a quarterback help. So maybe we'll see something without draft picks, but other than that, I don't think we're going to see much. I think this is the least trades we've seen in years, maybe ever during playoff, preseason or whatever we want to call it. And I don't see it changing much.
Chief, you're 5-5. How aggressive do you want to be? How much are you worried about giving away draft picks and not making the playoffs?
Well, certainly, I'm not eyeing to acquire someone for the purpose of renting them for the rest of the season. I'm not interested in paying a first or second round, if I had one, second round pick for a guy who's not keeper worthy. The problem, so you're right. First, you have to realize, do you have a legitimate shot of winning? In my case, I think if I make the playoffs, I think it's a decent shot of winning, as much as anyone who has to go through a wild card game to do it.
Real quick, Chief. I told Phil the exact same thing earlier today. I feel like if the aliens get in, I feel like I've got as good a chance as anybody at this point.
So, yeah, if I felt that I was really overperforming my talent, then maybe I would try to take advantage of this trade market and jettison some guys. But I don't feel that way. I think I'm actually performing below my talent level, though it's gotten better recently. The other problem is, and it goes to your second half of that, is you look at the rosters of the Packers and the Wheels, and obviously there's talent there. But there's two types of talent there. Guys who are good, keeper-worthy players, your DeMarco Murrays, and I'm sure Ralph has at least one on his roster, or guys who aren't going to improve my team. Could I pick up a depth receiver? Sure, that may help me out. I'm hurt by buys a little bit this week, but at what cost? And for what's out there and is really available for a practical price, it's hard to imagine too many moves being made.
Well, as one of the two guys that probably is, admittedly open in the trade market, I definitely have received a number of offers, most of them not discussion worthy, a couple of them, they might be interesting, but I got a problem with the fact the guys that most of the league would want, DeMarco Murray, Julio Jones, Doug Martin, it's like I don't really want to trade them because those are exactly the guys I'm trying to get with those draft picks. And so yeah, I'm happy to trade Larry Fitzgerald if somebody wants to talk to me about him. But that's I think that's the tough part is because everybody's in it. There's not that much available.
Well, I think there's also a little disincentive to trading too when you realize that nobody else is really probably going to go acquire somebody. So why should you bother?
Mm-hmm.
And if, as Chief and I have said, if you're comfortable with your team, stand pat and make it into the playoffs by beating up on other 5-5 teams.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is like I mentioned last week. There's inflation. Prices have gotten higher in season than other years. It seems to go up and up every year. And I think Chief also said something else. It's got to be keeper worthy. You're not going to give up picks for someone who's not going to be keeper worthy. I even look at the Eric Decker trade that I made. I'm totally happy keeping Eric Decker. I'm pissed I didn't keep him this year. He turned out to be the 26th overall pick. I was scared of keeping him in the Jets offense, but he's been great. And I looked at it and I said, I'll give a second for a 27-year-old receiver that I can keep that I should have kept this year. So I'm okay with that. But there's not a lot of that out there.
Yeah, you would think it would be a big seller's market right now, but it's not. It's not there. There's nothing really to sell at prices people want to pay. A DeMarco Murray is going to cost you, 2 number ones probably, 1 and a 2. And like Hank said, there's no need for him to trade that. That's, his turnaround rests on guys like that. So, yeah, you would think with only 2 sellers they'd be able to control the market a little bit, but there's just no market, none that I can see anyway.
So we got 4 days to go. What exactly is the deadline, Chief? 1 o'clock on Sunday.
1 o'clock on Sunday.
Okay. All right. So I thought I would take a quick look in helping to sort out who might have an advantage in these final 3 games. Which franchises play the AMPAC and the K-Wheels down the stretch? And obviously in the round robin, the AMPAC and K-Wheels are going to play the AMPAC and K-Wheels, and they're going to play the Giant Killers, who aren't part of the 5-5 mess. So there's really only one game that each of those 2 teams play that affects this playoff race. The AMPAC play the Dirt Devils in Week 12, so slight advantage to the Dirt Devils. And the K-Wheels play the Mongols in Week 13, so perhaps a slight advantage to the Mongols there. But really, both of those teams are facing off for their division crown, so I don't know that anybody really separates in that regard.
Terry and Badass, I hope you're listening. I'm going to kick your ass Week 13, so don't count on coming to need to win that game.
Hank, playing the spoiler role. Nice. And the other thing I thought I would take a look at is the bye weeks. Really, Week 11 is the last bye week, and so I wanted to see which TFFL franchises are hit hardest in this very critical week. 2 of them jumped out at me. The Devils are going to miss Drew Brees this week. They have, who is it, Alex Smith is their backup. So I think the Devils get a hit there, maybe offsetting the advantage they get in ultimately playing the AMPAC. And then, Chief, your team, the Sponge, you're going to lose your two Saints, who have been playing very well, Mark Ingram and Brandon Cooks. Your depth will be tested a little bit.
Also, Eli Manning. So
Eli Manning, yeah, I'm sorry.
Let's hope Romo's going to play this week.
I think he is, yeah.
Otherwise, it's like a Joe Flacco trade in my future, something like that.
Nice. Let's do it.
There you go.
Come on. I'm ready.
I am comforted with the fact the Lizards will be missing Odell Beckham, so hopefully that will at least even it off a little bit. But yeah, this was my 1 week looking at the schedule beginning of the season that I was going to actually hit pretty hard and playing a good team like the Lizards. Right before a Devils game, remember I said I had a 1-game margin of error. I was hoping to use it here. Unfortunately, that disaster lost to the Devils. I kind of nullified that, but we'll see.
Chief, the Joe Flacco lines are open.
I'm aware of that.
Accepting calls.
I think I'm going to wait a little bit later in the week to see if Romo's going to play or not before I make a trade now.
I think he's going to play. I think that's good timing for you. And you're right. And the reason I didn't immediately bring up Eli is I think the Beckham loss for the Lizards sort of offsets that. But Cooks and Ingram, again, both playing very well. That's a little bit of a ding for the Sponge. Okay, so those are the two observations in terms of maybe who's got an advantage down the stretch. Let me now throw a question back out to you guys. Looking beyond the 5-5 blob, the two teams really, ahead of the pack are the 7-3 Senators, the 8-2 Killers, the 6-4 Devils, and the 6-4 Lizards are really right there in the blob, especially with all these head-to-head games. So talking about the Sens and the Killers, those two teams with much better records than the blob.
Okay. Sorry.
We can't figure out a homework question.
We're sorry. We interrupt this webcast for a homework question.
Throw it out to the panel.
Divided by 7 is 5 with a remainder of 4, but Mom is saying that it's 4 with a remainder of 6, but a remainder cannot be bigger than a quotient.
Oh,
wow.
That's right, Brooke.
Could we slow that down a little bit?
Okay,
All right.
so
Shh. Speak slowly and read the question.
I think 34 divided by 7 is 5 with 4 left over. But Mom is saying that the answer is 4 with 6 left over, but a remainder cannot be bigger than a quotient.
Well, if we're dividing 34 by 7, the answer is 4 with 6 left over.
But we asked Google, and she's right. A remainder cannot be bigger than a quotient.
I know,
What's the quotient in this case? 7.
Quotient.
The
No, the
quotient
quotient
is 7.
4.
Oh.
No, that's the quotient. The quotient would be 4.
The quotient's the answer.
Answer to the division.
On the right side of the equal sign.
Exactly.
Okay,
So,
I think
wait a
we
second.
had our vocabulary wrong.
No, it's not.
So, 30.
Well, obviously, right, if you multiply 5 and 7, you get 35.
Right.
Yeah, so it can't be 5.
That has to be less than 5.
You get too many.
It has to be less than 5.
Okay, I think we had our vocabulary mixed up.
All right, good. Sorry about
Thank you,
that.
gentlemen.
All right.
No.
All right. Well, I have a very unhappy third grader at the moment. But anyway.
Did I hear her say bullshit?
I hope not. I hope
What
not.
a treat for our fans.
Listen, I never thought second and third grade math was so difficult. There are
Yeah,
times when I look
We're
at
into full-on division and multiplication and all this kind of
No,
stuff.
but Kate's right. This is a vocabulary issue, which is
right, but that's the whole issue with this with like the third grade math. I look at Jack's homework sometimes. I'm like, I have no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're trying to do here. And that's not the way I would approach
I know the answer.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
Okay, so here's my question again. Back to the fact that the Sens, the Killers are really the two teams seemingly high above the blob. But when you look at those franchises, no offense to the Killers, two losses in the last 3, 51 points. Are they really that much better, or do we have a 10-team blob?
I think the Killers are teetering, and I've said it all along. They're not going to win. They're gonna get knocked out. The problem is they're going to get the bye. They're going to get the bye, so they're going to have the inside track. But I think there's a lot of teams that can get hot. I think any of these teams can get hot, and the games change a lot as the weather gets cold here, and players we're not expecting are going to start stepping up and scoring lots of points. So yeah, I think the Killers are in great shape, but they're going to lose, and I think the Senators are looking strong. But I don't know, who the hell knows?
Now the Killers are gonna win. They're gonna win Week 15, and we're gonna make it to the Pac Bowl. That's it. The Eric Decker trade's gonna put us over the top. We're gonna get back on track here. Andy Dalton's gonna get it together. Lynch and Hill are gonna get it together. All is good in Killer Land.
Yeah, I don't see any team with a big advantage over anybody else. I think Lizards are probably the best team out there, just the way Cam Newton's playing. If he maintains that, I think they're probably the best team, which is funny because how little I've gotten from Andrew Luck. But I think this year more than most, that first round bye is going to be significant, just like it is in the NFL. You get two other teams that beat on each other for a week. Yeah, I don't see too many favorites other than the team that gets the bye.
Yeah, the Killers should get a bye, and again, as two-time defending champs, they deserve perhaps more respect than we're giving them here. Nonetheless, yeah, I think this is wide open. And
yeah, no, and I was being facetious. I don't think I'm the best team right now, but things change. I mean, I could have put up a better number this week. I had a bad Monday night, but I do agree with Chief. I think the Lizards look real good right now. But they're not going to get a bye. Hopefully, I mean they still could, but I need to win a game. But I think the Lizards look real good. But yeah, it's wide open. It is wide open though. There's no there's no clear cut favorite. So it's
Chief, in your commissioner's report, you alluded to Nick's uncanny ability to seemingly overcome every obstacle and just keep winning. I think it's 2 years in a row now on the webcast. I've told you all the Devils would eventually come back and take that division, as they always do. Here they are now at 6-4. They do lose Drew Brees in Week 11.
They could absolutely lose to the Impact, though.
Yep. But they still have the Impact to play, assuming they win that game, which everybody else has won that game this year. They're going to get to 7 wins and probably make the playoffs as at least a wild card. Whose job is it to wake up Nick in a couple weeks? Is that the Nick liaison?
I think you are. And Nick has won 4 straight. Let's give him some credit. This team is rounding into form. And if they win, they play the Packers this week. Is that right? All right. Well, I mean that's No, they play them next week. Okay. Well, I mean, if they can get by the week without having Drew Brees, they're probably in pretty good shape to take the division and make the playoffs. That's for sure.
The Devils' last 4 weeks gave 37 points. This thing's not responding as fast as I would like it to.
Yeah, all wins.
58 points with with 33 from Brees that game. The game before that was the monster 50-something game from Brees.
Yep.
And the game before that was, I think, also in the 30s.
But that's what Drew Brees does.
Yeah. So, but he's going to be missing for 1 game.
Right.
Whoever he plays this week's really catching a nice break. And who knows what Brees is? Brees happens to be playing outdoors in Chicago or Green Bay or wherever he's going to be. A lot of that advantage goes away. You would have to say he's probably going to make the playoffs. I don't know what the tiebreakers look like in that division. Whoever has him is probably going to win it. Yeah, it could be a 3-way tie in that division.
I stick by the Devils will not make the playoffs. They're going to lose this week. The Ampac will not have a winless season. They'll lose to the Ampac, and the Devils will not make the playoffs. Chief,
we've called this out in the past, and I'm glad you brought it up again. The Mongols have a 2-0 record in the division at this point. The Devils are 0-2 in the division.
Right, that's what I thought. We talked about last week.
Changed in a hurry over the last 3 weeks, but in that sense, the Devils are at a disadvantage.
And they play must be either the Beavers or the Mongols this week without Brees.
Yeah.
You could go 0-3 in the division.
Yep.
They play the Mongols this week, and they play the Beavers in Week 13. So.
And Rodgers isn't going to suck forever, I hope. So, who knows?
Who knows?
Okay, my last question about the 5 and 5.
Oh, I meant Aaron Rodgers, not Terry Rodgers. Just to clarify that. Terry Rodgers may suck forever. Aaron Rodgers probably won't.
Okay, what does the 5 and 5 blob say about the state of the TFFL? I know some of us here sort of lament the fact that there aren't as many trades because of all of this, but parity is generally a good thing, right? We've got a hyper-competitive league. Good for us, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. It's hard to get, that's why trades are tough, because this league is so tough that when you get guys that could be potential franchise building blocks, you don't want to move them. And then if you want the high picks to be able to go get guys like that, and so therefore trades are hard. But once you start putting a roster together, hopefully you're good for a while, and it's hard to do it.
Yeah, it really hasn't been a blockbuster for a long time. We had the Antonio Brown changing teams earlier this year. Other than that, I really can't remember a superstar changing teams in the last several years. It's just, those players are rare. Why get rid of them? Unless you're, if you're in Hank's situation where you had 4, really good running backs for a while, okay, I can see you moving one, but it doesn't happen anymore. That's not necessarily a bad thing.
Right. No, I think it's exciting. We're going to obviously, the last 3 weeks, we'll all be glued to the TFFL site, chatting with each other, watching a lot of close games with big impacts, and it'll be fun. Well, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yes.
Okay, let me switch gears. I got one last topic. It's away from the issue of the 5 and 5 blob. Just kind of a fun TFFL strategy question, if you will. I haven't prepped any of you for this. And really, it's 2 related but slightly separate questions. I'm talking about Thursday night and Monday night action. Okay, logic says these are fantasy players. It doesn't matter when they play. Start the best 9 guys in your lineup. But I'm sure there are some owners, many owners maybe, who like the idea of having that guy playing on Monday night. Whether it's just to be part of the action or some thought that you want to have the last play, a guy help you to come from behind. I'm sure, looking at Thursday night, there are some owners, especially if they haven't really thought through all their lineup decisions yet, who might be inclined to start one of their in-the-mix guys on Thursday night. Again, maybe just to be on the action, or maybe with some weird thought of, getting out, the importance of getting out to a fantasy lead. Will any of you guys admit to such decisions, just playing a guy to have somebody in the action?
Yes. If push comes to shove, if guys are pretty much equal, for whatever reason, I will defer that to Monday night. But on the flip side, your question about Thursday, those games are usually a shit show. Although the Monday night game was a shit show this week. But the Thursday night games, you always have to think about, do you have that guy who's questionable, or, even, there's rumors that, he may even be probable, or he didn't practice on Wednesday, and you start thinking, and then oftentimes you want to get that guy in Thursday because you may not have an opportunity to play somebody else later. So that factors in too. But all things being equal, to Monday night, I'd love to have that on Monday night, and those 2 players are equal.
I've never thought about that before, Stick, and I've certainly never paid attention when doing my roster decision when my guys are playing. But you figure Thursday would be a disadvantage, not only because the guys are off a short week, and you figure guys has to affect them, but you're not playing with all the information you need as to your Sunday lineup. I think Berto was getting into this a little bit, where there might be a guy questionable, and he might be a really good player, but you don't want to wait to find out if he's going to play or not. So you start the guy Thursday. It might be a worse play. Also, going further down that line, Monday night, it's great. You save a guy for Monday night. You got some action, got a reason to watch a game. And if that guy pulls up lame in warm-ups, you're done. You don't have anyone you can switch in for him. So Yeah, I've never given it thought before, and I don't think it's really going to make a huge impact on my decisions going forward. But it's interesting to consider. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
I'll tell you the other thing too. The like the Thomas Rawls Lynch thing. There's been a couple times this week where it's been a Sunday night or a Monday night game, and having those guys and being able to think about something Rawls if Lynch is going to play or something like that's a great option.
Sure. If you have multiple options on Monday night, I can see that.
I'll just chime in and say quickly that I definitely like having guys play on those odd nights just to have the action going. You know, I always want to try and start the best guys. And I think about the Thursday game, I'm like, if you're a player, you know, yeah, you're gonna suck it up. You're gonna have, you know, a different week of practice. But I think maybe they're like, yeah, we're gonna play this game, we're gonna have the big game, and then we get the freaking weekend off, and we're gonna coast, you know, in the next week, get the win early. So I feel like they you know, there's a chance they're gonna come to play. And it feels like, you know, some, you know, unique guys have maybe had some better nights on Thursday. So I you know, I'll play them. And yeah, I'm definitely excited to have guys play on Monday night.
Actually, that situation is coming up this week where right now I've got Antonio Andrews penciled in to start for Ingram on Thursday. But, you know, maybe I want Greg Olson in that spot. You know, I don't have, you know, the luxury of the Fridays, you know, practice reports. Yeah, so we'll see what happens.
I will confess, I remember it was 4 to 6 weeks ago, I had 4 running backs in the mix. The Aliens do have a deep running back core this year, and Carlos Hyde was playing on Thursday night, hadn't been playing well. And as Chief, for all the reasons Chief mentioned, I know that Thursday night players are not a great play, but it was, you know, half an hour before game time, and I'm like, damn it, I want to have somebody in the action, you know. So I put Carlos Hyde in, and he scored 2 points. I think it was against you, Berto.
Yeah.
Scored 2 points. Didn't do me any good. But yeah, so yes, I do it. I think we all do it. But yeah, in a perfect world, you really ignore those to some extent. But yeah, you do have to consider the injury situation. Don't want to get burned not having anybody left to play on Sunday if you miss out on starting somebody on Thursday and have some of your Sunday guys pull up late. Okay, enough on that. Let's start to really wrap up here. Look ahead quickly to Week 11. I'll hold on to the trivia answer for just another moment. Chief, quick run through the schedule and our game of the week for a quick discussion.
Okay, going through the rest of the schedule. Lunch and Lizards. We have Senators and the Hams. Giant Killers and the Beavers, Aliens and the Fats, Pack and the K-Wheels. That's going to be exciting.
Yes.
And what I'm calling the game of the week right now is the Dirt Devils and the Mongols. I think the winner of this game, especially if it's the Mongols, probably wins this division. Just because we talked about the tiebreaker that Nick is going to be facing. You're looking at an Alex Smith versus Blake Bortles going on Thursday night. Quarterback matchup.
Drama.
You know, they're really forced to start Eddie Lacy here. Maybe they've been doing it anyway. I haven't been paying attention. I don't know. You know, Des Bryant gets Romo back. Alan Hearns has just been a machine, a virtually indestructible machine. You know, and on the other side we have James Starks to counteract Lacy. Alf Morris had a pretty good game. You know? So I think it's going to be a very exciting game. It should be a close game.
Yeah, I think the Mongols certainly have the edge here. Ironic that we were just talking about Thursday night action because Blake Bortles and Alan Hearns are on Thursday night for the Devils. And if they don't start out the week strong, that'll certainly set them back. But or for the Mongols, I'm sorry. So I give the edge to the Mongols here at the moment.
Yeah, I like the Mongols. I think with Breeze out, you know, Bortles has been playing well. I think they have Eddie Lacy in the lineup right now, but I think he's going to come out. So they have some other options on the bench. You know, another one.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, not great options, I guess. You're right, but
Unless they can slot Kelsey in at running back, I guess.
yeah, they're going to put Kelsey at running back. Actually, it's probably going to be Kamar Aiken.
Yeah.
Not great, but like I said, I think with Breeze out, I mean, the Devils are Breeze and not a lot else in my mind. So I like the Mongols.
Yeah, this is the week for the Mongols to win, but the Devils seem to find ways this time of year that would not be surprised if the Devils win. But it looks like the Mongols on paper.
Yeah, who does Alex Smith have? I forgot already. Denver, is it? San Diego.
They have San Diego, so that's not a bad matchup.
That's a pretty good matchup for Smith.
Yep.
It'll be fun.
All right, so let's give out our TFFL trivia answer here. Again, we're looking for the two franchises with the longest active streak of not making the playoffs. I'll give you 1 point if you name the number one team and a half point if you can name the second team. Got the Mongols and the Fats, the Senators and the AMPAC, and the Mongols and the Senators. The Mongols, always a good guess for questions like this. I might have even asked this question last year. The Mongols are the correct answer as the team with the longest stretch. They have not made the playoffs since 2007.
Oh, man.
That's 7 straight seasons now without a playoff berth.
Yes, 5.
I will acknowledge this is a franchise that went 7-6 last year, often good enough to make the playoffs, just not in 2014. The franchise with the second longest streak of not making the playoffs, lest the Mongols think I'm picking on them, is the Aliens. 4 straight years out of the playoffs now. And again, a little bit in my defense, we too had a 7-6 season that normally would have made the playoffs but didn't in our case. Both of our franchises now 5-5, on the brink of making the playoffs, perhaps, and busting those streaks in 2015. We will see. All right, wrapping up here, our closing thoughts with our commissioner. I know Chief has a rant this week. I don't know what it is, but I'm anxious to hear
it. Before I get to that.
Wait, there's a lot of things about it.
Oh, hold on, Chief. Hold on. We have a quick special guest.
Hi.
Hi. I have a flashback to last week's rant.
Okay.
So I got an email from the American Massage Therapy Association, and guess who our keynote speaker is?
Chris Collinsworth.
No, even worse. Robin Roberts.
That's
I invited.
Minneapolis. Yeah.
Well, you'll enjoy Minneapolis. Beautiful that time.
Yes, yes.
All right, rant away, Chief.
Well, I just want to reiterate the trade deadline. Before the 1 o'clock games, it'll be interesting to see what, if anything, transpires in the next few days, other than like a Joe Flacco changing hands, or kicker and defense swaps or something like that. Now, I've ranted for years. It's not quite airline food level, but even since I was doing, the Voice of Reason, things like that, commercials. I did, running a blog of the NFL commercials kill me, because I think part of it is because we're the demographic that has the money. We're the people they're targeting, right? The males, the 25 to 40, bracket, 45, whatever it is. And the one in particular that's getting really going right now is, I think it's a Kay's Jewelers one. But you can throw any kind of diamond, seller into this box, okay? Now, I'm very glad my wife doesn't watch football with me. Not that it would do her any good if she did. But listen, we are your bread and butter, okay? I'm not interested in buying my wife a new ring every year. Okay, this year it's the 2-stone ring, one for your true love and one for your best friend. Last year, the year before, it was a 3-stone ring, one for yesterday, one for today, and one for tomorrow, or past, present, future, however they did it. Other ones, the open-ended heart, because if you open up your heart, love will find its... Give me a fucking break. My wife has 10 fingers. 8 fingers to wear a ring on, okay? You're the NFL. You do not want me buying diamonds for me buying your HD package, want me buying sweatshirts, want me buying big screen TVs. Yeah, I think I wrote down something so I wouldn't forget in my diatribe here. Beer. You should be selling more beer, as bad as those commercials are.
Scotch.
I'm not interested. Can you shell up, $6,000 a year? Can you imagine anyone who shell that just to get the latest trend in diamond wear? Is my wife gonna love me less because I don't? I don't know, but it seems to be that's the message. If you want to show your wife you appreciate her, get her this, which is much better than this that you dropped $6,000 on last year, and this that you dropped on $6,000 the year before. We were just kidding with those. This is the one she needs. Fuck you, Zales, Hertzberg, K, and everything else.
I'm emailing you something wrong right now.
Well, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that virtue device, right? You can either spend $1,000 on a diamond, or you can spend $1,000 on FanDuel, the constant FanDuel.
I can update my kitchen. You should like more.
I'll gamble.
Yeah, I gamble.
Here's the thing. I buy my wife a necklace or a watch or whatever's a gift. You know what that means? She doesn't wear the one I bought her last time anymore. I mean, it's a very frustrating game, and I think that of all the places to advertise it, Sundays in the NFL is probably not where you want to go with that.
Exactly where you want to go.
I don't know who these guys are who are just going to go out and drop, whatever, 6, 8, 10 grand on something like this without approving this with their wife. Because if I brought this home without having shown it to her, I'm going to get it thrown right back at me. So,
Nobody
yeah.
does any of that shit.
Yeah. Honey, we're not going on vacation this year because I need to buy this.
Yeah.
Right.
I decided to spend all our money on this for you.
Surprise!
I like it.
Hey, Berto, speaking of FanDuel, you still up on DraftKings?
No, I'm down. I'm down 120 now, Stick. But I understand you're up, so.
Hanging in there,
Wait,
yeah.
How much?
Berto's down 120, I'm up
Down 120.
I like our record and our virtual hang your hat pool better.
Yeah, we haven't seen that
Yeah,
yet.
we're doing well with that.
All right.
We don't want pajamagrams either.
Thanks,
No
man.
pajamagrams?
No pajamagrams.
I'm
Those
going
will
right
come out in
back
fucking
down.
February.
Okay.
I didn't know there was such a thing.
All these great public service announcements.
You know,
A lot of guests tonight. A lot of guests.
Yes.
On the TFFL.
because pajamagrams, man, that just reeks of someone, you know what? There's a niche to be filled. We can get rich on the internet selling stuff. Pajamagrams. Never heard of it.
There could be a side business here, a recycling of all of the Zales diamonds that were bought the year before.
That is a good
I think they have those guys.
They call pawn shops.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There might be a TV show about this.
All right, so I think we're about 45 minutes as normal without a guest. Let's wrap up, and good luck to everybody week 11. Big games ahead, especially for Chief and I, trying to get out of the blob. We'll certainly have teams falling one way or the other on the winning or losing side of the ledger after week 11. I'm not sure we'll necessarily resolve anything this week, because we still have a lot of head-to-head games to go.
This is the first time I've been 500 this year. It's exciting.
Yeah, we're as I said in the message board. Yeah, it's a 3-game season. You know, for these 6 teams, really perhaps for 8 teams. It's like we're all 0-0 at this point, and 3 games to go. Most of us facing each other in critical games down the stretch. Good luck, especially to you, Chief. Hank, I don't know what. Do you have a shot at the number 1 overall? You don't have a shot at the number 1.
No, I'm not going to get a shot at the number 1 pick. I'm cheering. I'm going to beat Ralph this week because I don't want to be the guy that Ralph beats in his quest for legendary status in 0-13. So I'm going to beat him this week. I'm going to beat Berto just to mess him up, and because he's not as good as he thinks he is, and his team.
I don't think I'm that good.
They're a paper tiger waiting to be ripped to shreds. And then I already told you earlier in the webcast, I'm going to beat Terry and Badass
to get to 6 and 7 and end up with the number 6 overall pick. Great
No,
fun.
I'm going to get the 6 and I'll get the 6 and 7. And the reality is, those are all tiebreakers that I've already lost to all the teams in the muck at 5 and 5. So I'm still going to be the number 2 overall.
So I don't think we've.
There's nobody else that has 5 wins or less. So 6, most of those teams are going to win a game.
Probably.
Yeah. So don't worry, we're going to be just fine.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, then good luck to you in beating the AMPAC. I think that's the first time we've really acknowledged that. I think the AMPAC have clinched the number 1 overall pick.
They have.
Okay. So yeah, good luck in not being the team that finally loses to them. Berto, yeah, continued good luck. I think you've got the conference clinched.
One more, maybe. One more win.
Let's let you get there, and then you can take a couple weeks off and root for the rest of us. Next week, again, is Thanksgiving week. We'll have to talk about when we get together to do this, or whether we do it at all. If we miss doing it next week, a happy Thanksgiving to all of the TFFL, and we'll see you very soon. Take care.
Good night, everyone.
All right.